Ever since you and I first laid our eyes on the 3D printer, dreams of fame and fortune flashed before our eyes, and we saw the potential to grow our creative and engineering muscles to the point where we could create anything with our imagination and the help of a computer, a printer, and a $25 spool of filament. At least that has been my personal delusion for the past 5 years, paying way too much for my 3D printers and pushing my mental capacity to the limits trying to learn sculpture and basic mechanics. When I'm not sculpting pumpkins and other food art offline, I'm doing CAD, VR sculpts, and painting online. And after amassing a library of failed print popularity, the honeymoon starts to fade. And we often find ourselves whittling down our niche to functionally aesthetic works of art, blending both worlds together until we find that sweet target audience of either Etsy moms with Affirm credit accounts, or Thingiverse addicts looking for the next popular printable. Recently, I discovered some mechanical and functional 3D printed goodness that may help you in your journey of learning 3D print design, or completely piss you off. It's really a coin toss. Oh, shit. Oh, look at that. Bet you can't do this. But, you know, I could juggle as well. Ooh, yeah, ooh, yeah. Now let's take a look at what others can do. So remember, we're not here to critique too much. We're here to learn. There's a lot of free content out there that can inspire you and kind of give you a direction of where you want to head into, and you're probably going to learn a thing or two just by observing either others' successes or mistakes. Now, this is a TikTok posted by the Light Within. Now, this is where you have to appreciate the work that's involved, even if you critique it. And you know, I like to critique things because I critique my own stuff too. And I'm used to people hating my stuff, so don't worry about it. He says, design maturity takes patience. A lot of patience. Very underrated statement. It took me 6 generations of different mechanisms to finally arrive at this one. So this is a mechanical design. I myself started with mechanical designs. I love functional 3D prints. Like, you know, I have that desire to come up with a patent someday, and you know, there's a lot of competition now because of these 3D printers. Like, more and more people are able to get into designing, and you know, they're more inspired, and there's so much content flowing around. So eventually you're gonna have more people that are competing in that sphere. May the best and the luckiest win. Let's watch it again. The best ideas are slow cooked. That's very interesting. Now I have that button. I have that electronic button. I think it's pretty clever. People criticize the 3D print lines, you know, and he's like, yeah, I just, you know, I did it real quick and I was just prototyping real quick. So this was a prototype. Obviously you could tell he was very excited to show this off. And you know, after 6 generations of this and like months of work, especially if you're doing things that are taking electronics and combining it with the 3D print stuff, it feels really good. So this personally for him was probably a massive achievement, obviously, and that is to be applauded. Now, will he take home the grand prize of the trophy? That is up to you to decide. Let me know in the comments what you think of this design. Is there a different use that you could use that rolling, rocking mechanism to trigger the light on and off? Let me know. I'm sure you can find something. Okay, the next one really blew me away, and I was very jealous of this design. I've seen designs like this before. You've seen designs like this before, but I take a lot of these TikToks and things that I come across as things that I aspire to do with marketing, video. I'm really terrible at that. If you can't tell, go all the way back in this channel's history and look at how bad I am at video, photography, all that stuff. I am terrible, and trying to get the right background and the right aesthetic and even the sound has been a massive struggle for me personally. I don't know why. I just have a hard time with technical stuff, although I love electronics. So here is Liha Design _AT. This is Charlie the Comfort Crab. Now let's take a look at her pitch.
I designed this 3D printed crab to hold notes or photos, but I also wanted it to be magnetic, so it could climb walls like a real crab. That's why I printed the belly as a separate piece, to hide the magnet completely. And here's the best part. The claws snap in with tiny ball joints, so he can hold the little things you forget at any angle.
that was an excellent ad. Okay, right there. Okay, so you see that part where it like zooms in on the crab? That was post-production, obviously, but they have the photo of like the AI generated crab or whatever it is. That was excellent. I really like the fact that she showed how the different pieces come together and how it works. You can learn a lot right here from this ball and socket design if you're trying to do your own. And personally, I've been attempting to do this type of mechanical stuff, you know, different parts you can put together, especially if you have a single filament printer like I have behind me. I don't have a multi-filament printer, and most people don't. You know, they're very expensive, but they're pretty amazing for what they can do. So this is great that they showcased how they go about this. I want to do this in VR, and actually I was successful. I just eyeballed this guy, and I made this candy dispenser. You can see there's a cylinder in there. You fill this up with candy, and you rotate him, and on Halloween, he dispenses all the candy for you. He's also got a butt. Yeah, that was my nice little personal touch there. Although I haven't touched his. So I'm a big fan of this type of stuff. I learn a lot just from, you know, taking a look at this stuff. And I think the video quality is great. Do you think this is something that you would want to put on your fridge? Or maybe it could be a cute little gift that you give to somebody. I mean, even like, you know, if you have like a boomer mom, I think they would like this kind of a stuff. Like you buy this at the dollar store, right? But you don't have this one, right? And there is our power couple right there, looking very good. Handcrafted in Austria, designer duo. I really, really like their presentation. I think it's incredible. Like, oh geez, the pill organizer. What the? An Oreo pill organizer. I've seen stuff like this before. Oh, there it is, the mechanic. Do you see that? You see the spring? Okay, the retention spring. That is what you need to learn right there. It's easy. Okay, it's relatively easy once you get rolling in design to figure out how to pocket out this little pie here into this design and then pocket out that part where the spring goes. You'll figure that out, and it's a struggle at first, but I learned in a very difficult program. I mean, in my experience, it was difficult to learn FreeCAD, although I do recommend it. It's kind of niche, and there's, you know, a lot easier options out there, but this is great to take notes from right here. So you see that little spring? It's got 1, 2.5 loops. And look at that. Okay, so he shows you how he did it. He shows you how he reduced the size. It's that easy. What kind of a program is that? Is that Fusion 360? I'm not sure. I think this is an excellent video, not only for people that are interested in this design. Obviously, you can see their target audience is the 3D printer owning crowd, not necessarily a, you know, run-of-the-mill consumer who's on TikTok scrolling for things to buy. Always keep that in mind when you're designing a 3D print. If you're trying to do it for business or profit, you need to understand your target audience, your target customer. You need to really niche it down in order to be successful. And that's something that I struggle with because I just want to grow my artistic abilities as soon as possible, as fast as possible. But I am trying to figure out what I can whittle down to that people would be interested in. Go check out the power couple, Liha Design _AT on TikTok. They have some very aesthetically pleasing prints. Now, the next one that I saw kind of blew me away. I was like, there's no way that this is real. This is Prosto _Pachetnik, some Cyrillic alphabet, country and name. So he's gonna show you this 3D printed toy. Now, at first I thought this was an AI generated thing. I didn't believe that this was real. And then I saw it again and again and again, and it is in fact real. Apparently the gearbox is hidden within the body. You can see there's a big case in there. It speaks for itself. It's a great sculpture, and it's a great combination of engineering as well. And it doesn't matter how big of a scale the engineering is. If you can do something that's mechanically interesting, you've won. This is something that I aspire to do someday, but for now, I think I'm just going to be focusing mostly on the sculpture aspect of things. All right, and the last one is on TikTok by Cartiski, I believe. And they have a very extensive library. I think they have their own website where you can go and check out their designs. They have both free and premium models that you can download, but you will learn a lot from a page like this. I don't know if they're on YouTube or elsewhere. This is where I found them on TikTok. And they have some very impressive fidget mechanical stuff here that you can see. Again, there's the little spring that's very common in 3D printing because it's easy to print. It's relatively easy to print, and you can get a very nice model out of it. It's very clean and very simple, and it saves a lot of material. So you can see it goes down, and there's a little cavity here, and there's a little bump there, and that's what's creating the clicking mechanism, and the spring on the bottom is preventing it from bottoming out. Now, this is stuff that I love. I love how clean the design is, and I appreciate that they made a case that is also see-through. You can see the actual action of it going on. This is stuff that is very simple on the surface, but you will benefit by studying how it works. And they have a lot of other stuff on here. If we go ahead and take a look at their other page, they have these rubber band type guns. You can see how these mechanisms work. Again, very simple, but very, very useful. You will accelerate your knowledge base by studying pages and creators like this. And I know there's a lot more out there, and if you have any that I should take a look at, go ahead and comment below. These are some very impressive designs like this. This is very advanced here, this little clock mechanism type thing. I don't know the names of this. I used to study those animations that people would put out, you know, those nonsensical type of mechanical animations. I just thought they were so cool. It's really fascinating to me that humans are able to come up with this kind of stuff. Now here's another example of a sculpture and, you know, a functional type of thing. It is a revolver that you put your batteries in. Do you need it? No. In fact, it would make... Oh, shit. Wait, I need it. Did you see that? It bumps up the one that you need as you spin it. Wow. Clever design. That is awesome. Well, I just learned something today. That is so cool. That's amazing. Now, back in the COVID era, I myself was experimenting with fidgets. They were all the rave during that time, and I was just teaching myself basic mechanics, you know, how to make little clickers, stuff like that, and what works, what doesn't, the limits of the printers, the limits of the filament, what you can get away with, what's difficult and whatnot. And eventually I got to this really clicky one. Not bad, huh? Now, this is not a product that I would sell. There's already better stuff out there, but I was just learning how to do this myself. I kind of like putting myself into the darkness and feeling my way around the dark room until I figure it out. But like I said, if you want the cheat codes, these are the types of channels, videos, and creators that you should be taking notes from. I hope this was fun and informative, and I hope you guys are inspired to go out there and just start designing. Like, my biggest regret is not starting 10 years ago, right? 20 years ago. If I was a teenager and I was growing up with this technology, I know Fortnite, Minecraft, and all that stuff, Call of Duty, is hard to quit. It's hard to put that down, right? We're addicted to that dopamine loop. I'm telling you, when you create something, you feel a level of satisfaction that is hard to compare with, other than raising your own kids. In a way, I guess these are kind of your children. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.